Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the weekend update. As I always do, I am starting off with the Dow Daily Chart, and you can see this past week, just nothing but selling in the Dow, down every day of the week, and we actually broke this uptrend line that had been in place from the June lows. So what is this upcoming week going to bring? We've got a lot of things out there that could muddy the water. We've got quadruple witching options futures expiration this upcoming week, which always sees the option dudes do whatever they can to make the most money, wipe out both the calls and the puts. We also have, the overhang of the debt ceiling getting extended, Delta variant, etc., etc., etc. So where are we going to go here? We of course have a couple of potentials, but if we do get the much needed large cap sell-off, we could be looking at a pullback back to the June lows, which is essentially around the area where the 200-day moving average is, a couple of thousand points down. One thing we haven't looked at in quite a while is the VIX. I'm bringing that up because we're probably going to start to hear a lot of it, especially if the market continues to sell off. This is the weekly chart of the VIX. Wouldn't really be concerned about it unless we got a break over 25. Now, this is one of these things, the VIX, this is going back to the pandemic sell-off last year, where essentially every 6 months we had a big spike up to 40 on the VIX. And really, since February, that was the last spike to that zone we had seen. And, we've been a bit overdue. It's been happening every 6 months. We're now going on 7 months now since that spike. So things are possibly setting up for that kind of sell-off. And, August was pretty decent considering the number of slow days. We're kind of seeing a lot of the slowdown right now that many of us thought would have happened in August. I have not changed my stance at all. I'm still, my goal daily is to be 85 to 90% plus cash on my swings. And again, I'm going to repeat myself because the more you hear something, the more it's going to get drilled into your heads. The way I approach my swings in uncertain markets like this, I hold swings that I am okay seeing lower. If I'm okay seeing a swing I have lower, and I'm okay adding to my position, sticking within the discipline I have regarding position sizing, then that is a swing I hold. If I'm not okay holding a swing lower and I don't want to add more lower, that is usually an indication to me that I need to get out of that swing. That is the simple rule I live with when I'm trading markets like this. QQQs, tech stocks looking like they could reverse here. Actually already started to reverse here. And our barometer, or my barometer for that, AI is holding up pretty well. Tesla, on the other hand, this is the weekly chart, has slowly been moving higher, but on the daily chart, you can see this one also has a potential pullback in it. And as we know, where the tech stocks go, most of the market has a tendency to go. And right now as well, we're also seeing sell-offs in the boring Dow stocks that would usually prop up things whenever, we had a sell-off in the tech stocks. So interesting period right now. What is this week going to bring us? Who knows? That's essentially it. But the bias is definitely to the downside, flat to downside, at least near term. But of course, watch Monday morning, we get a big bounce back. Remember, this week is a weird week with options expiration, the quadruple witching, blah, 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 witching. Who knows what they're going to do? It all depends on which side of the boat makes the option riders the most money. But anyway, let's jump into some stock plays. We started to see the penny stocks actually wake up. And actually, the market looked normal. When I mean normal, the last couple of days, where we saw the large caps selling off and action actually coming to the penny stock. We haven't seen that most of the year. SONM, this was a merger play. And the financing being done per my research, and my target was a move to the 200-day moving average at 68 cents, and lo and behold, 3 weeks later, they're chasing this stock up 75%. That is just the nature of the market, as we know. On Friday, of course, out of the blue, They blew up FAMI. Not a fan of FAMI, but it did have a nice chart breakup, and this pop-up here was a perfect opportunity to take gains off the table just as well, because FAMI became FAMI and dropped an offering after hours. So now we know why the big volume move on this one. It was almost 200 million volume, I believe. Actually, they ended up getting it over that, 200 plus million volume. This kind of stuff is not normal, guys. You see this across the market. I've been saying it repeatedly. You know, the garbage truck stocks are getting mega volume and getting pushed, and usually what's behind them are offerings. We do have the good chart plays move, but they end up being slower and slower because there's no one pushing them up the hill so that they can drop offerings. So it's a matter of being patient on researched and DD plays. While it can be frustrating when you see junk blowing up huge, that is just the nature of the market we are in. SBET, more fantastic news this week. Minnesota Vikings deal. NFL started. Vikings play Sunday. The stock had a nice little pop, and then the usual back down action it had. Now, I'm repeating myself, of course. The action on this one is a lot like the action we saw on AYRO. It's a lot like the action we saw on BBIG. And actually, speaking of BBIG, this was BBIG 2 weeks ago. No one wanted it down here. They were scared at 220, and they're chasing it at 12 this week. That is just the nature of this market. You got to be prepared for that. Out of the blue, a stock can go. It's just a matter of when the algos come. Now, part of the big reason on some of these movers was the high short interest, and that was pushing them. And a high short interest right now, SDC, Smile Direct Club, this has been a swing I've been sitting in now for a couple of weeks. This is now the top 5 shorted stock in the market per different sources. 38% short right now. BBIG blew up last week, up, I think, 100% essentially on 16 to 20% short interest. SDC has 38% approximate short right now. This is my candidate for a short squeeze near term for a move back up to the 6+ zone. Penny stocks, quick mention on UAMY. This is the weekly chart, still stuck in its range. It's just one of those patient plays. Nothing we can do but wait and see what happens. INUV, one of my favorite swing plays for the last year plus. If pennies are moving, you better believe I picked up some more shares of INUV on Friday. Breakout, 80 cents. Press release in this market, and volume is what is key. What's driving these penny stocks is when these algos come in that just churn volume and flip for pennies, drive that volume. It seems to be the trigger is 20 to 30 million in volume, and then those stocks just continue to churn higher. Doesn't matter what they do. The more trashy they are with the volume, probably the bigger they've been going. Look at CEI this past week. That is just what we're seeing in this market right now. CRTD, NFT play. This is my replacement for any and sport in the crypto market. Again, this is a play, a company that has told us NFT news is coming per their earnings report. So it's a wait and see for that earnings or that NFT news. ADMP, I added to my position on this one simply because of the vaccine news out there. And, you know, a vaccine press release drops on this stock, and it could give a nice 10 to 20% more, even more, you know, if the algos come into it. New penny swing for me on Friday, MKD. Now, MKD actually had green crypto blockchain news a week ago. Check the September 2nd press release. I actually never noticed it till I started looking for under $1 stocks with the action that we were seeing on SONM on Friday. Read this one, loved the research. First target, 50-day moving average at 61 cents. Got as high as 54 cents late on Friday, which was a resistance level, and then pulled back a little. Probably pulled back in after hours because of the FAMI Aegis offering that happened. If so, I'm going to be looking to add to my swing position possibly here on Monday. TLGT, Tailgate. What a great name for a stock for this time of the year. FDA news could come on this one at any time. Nice break out of its range on Friday. Popped as high as 48 cents and then came back late in the day after hours, probably on FAMI again. I would be happy to add to my position in the 42 to 44 cent area and possibly on a break of 50, depending on how the volume came in and what kind of volume that was. And again, the action that we would be seeing out there. 200-day moving average, 67 cent, looks very attractive to me as a swing target. Waiter broke down this week. I am still sitting in my swing. I would maybe lighten it up if it broke under 1, but you see this huge selling volume right here? This was a hedge fund getting out. 10 million volume was them exiting this week per filings. And my rule of thumb when it comes to small cap stocks is most of these hedge funds and hedge fund managers, in my opinion, are dumber than a box of rocks. These clowns are like the scanner algos. They're essentially the guys that chase crap up. They buy tops, they sell bottoms. So the fact that these guys are getting out right here, good sign to me, at least looking out. This is a stock I'm okay swinging with right now. FBRX, I picked up a small swing on this one, looking at a curl bottom. Got decimated this week on bad trial data, 30s all the way down to 4. Natural dead cat bounce could take this one to 5 to 7 plus. 20 days way up there, but this actually has a pretty small float and was heavily shorted this week, even with the extent of this drop. And that is the kind of stock that could see a really, really quick rebound in the near term. Deeply oversold across all the indicators, but this is a stock that could bounce very, very nicely in the next couple of weeks. Frsx was a favorite of mine last year, both on the scanners for COVID and, more importantly, the 3D vision driving. These guys do vision. Vision is a big part of Tesla. What is driving Tesla recently is the upcoming rollout of the full self-driving service. FRFX is in that sector, to the point I added to my long-term position on this one. And the reason I did this one, this reminds me a lot of my swing play that I really liked all year, AEHR on the chip shortage. Where I said, you know, these guys were kind of a Tesla play and it was just being ignored by the market. Well, now it's not being ignored anymore. Over the last 3 months, it has gone up 300%. I think the same could happen in FRFX. Very, very early days on this one. Chasers probably come in at 4 to 5, but this is a stock, and one of the criteria I use when I'm adding long-term stocks for myself is, one, it's a buyout target. I think it's going to be a buyout target. That is absolutely what I think on FRFX. And the other thing is, it's a sector I need to be in that I think is going to do very well over the next few years. Again, this is a stock that's in a sector that I think is going to be very, very hot. You are going to see a lot of these automakers who are so far behind the curve on this autonomous driving and EV cars. It's just mind-blowing that we're going to see soon a rush for buyouts by the likes of Ford and GM, etc., Volkswagen. And that's just my view on this sector going forward. Quick mention on SNMP, continues to just churn, and it ends up being a very nice stock. This 80-90 cent area is giving a 25-30% pop for those patients. And these kinds of movements on swing plays, I enjoy because these moves allow me to make my swing a free position. Last but not least, INDP. Nothing much I can say to this one. Broke down through support. Again, since the merger, not a peep from this company. Usually I would have stopped out of this stock, but this would be one of those stocks that if I stopped out of it and they had a press release, I'd be really, really mad that I wasn't in some shares. So with that in mind, I'm okay seeing it lower because I know that if it comes out with all the news that I think is coming and it runs and I'm not in, would be very frustrated with myself. Again, as I mentioned at the start of the video, that is one of my criteria on whether I ride swing positions down. Now, I'm not riding full positions. Again, strict discipline in this market. This, for me, is a 1 to 3% max in a position market. High cash. Earlier this week, I think I was at the highest cash I've been all year, but my goal in this tape right now, probably through September, is 85 to 90% cash. That's a comfortable level for me. Doesn't mean I can't trade whatever actions in the market. Like on Friday, pennies were hot. I was trading pennies. Thursday, no action, half day. That is the way I approach markets in a tape like this. So enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you all in the chat room Monday. Bye.